if God is good, which is good for people, on our side, God is always smiling at you because you personalize God. On their side, you can't attach with God unless you're raped, because you have to contact the bishops when you're a child, when you're uncertain. That's a clear benefit to the comparative. You mediate God, and mediation causes problem, and that's the whole point of this debate. 4 things in summary. Firstly, about the meta debate, assessing their engagement. Secondly, on the issue of spiritual catharsis. Thirdly, on counterfactual world, to which that side had paid little attention. Fourthly, on social effect, to which that side has never paid attention. Firstly, on assessments of engagements. So the idea from them was that our burden is to eliminate all of the conflict, like discrimination, those sort of things. But I think that's too unfair. But the problem, in fact, well, what we have proven in today's debate is that due to organization, hierarchy, idea of orthodoxy, cause and prolong those kind of insidious and harmful, pernicious discrimination, conflict, and war all over the place. This debate is therefore should not be about strict mutual exclusivity, because we know that conflict might happen in another place, sure, but we cannot buy their logic because what they said is that because there's another conflict, therefore you should side with us. So this is too unfair, because we have told you that cause of the conflict is far more likely on our side of the house. There's exceptionally damaging ways of response. But let's engage with the idea of spiritual catharsis. The idea from them is about the strong belief is important. I cannot understand in 2 ways. The first is that what does strong belief really means? Strong belief, characterized right from the get-go from Prime Minister, was about the intolerance against another alternative interpretation, which individual can naturally able to have in accordance to another's lived experiences. Violence associated with opposition, such as exceptionally violent, asset attacks, those sort of things. Arbitrary and peculiar, which happens not because of individual free will, but because of indoctrination. Right? So it is not a trust at all. It is a literal coercion, Mr. Speaker, inherited by traditions, peer pressure, and organization structures. So even if the confidence matters, I don't think confidence matters to the spiritual well-being, because confidence as a group causes the violence at the end of the day. But we also say that structures are changing, those sort of things. We already told you right from its get-go and extended by Alex Nimichi that hierarchical structures make it exceptionally difficult to counter back. But as I clearly pointed out my POI against their speaker, is that if you want a change, if you want an alternative viewpoint, side with us, because there's idea of autonomy and no violence is guaranteed on our side of the house. So if you characterize people demand for change, that's precisely the point of our case. Lastly, social effect. In idea of interest group, which prohibits the abortion in many Western liberal democracies, abuse, child abuse, causing war, inside group leads to ISIS, violence, bloodshed, all over the place. False donation, especially from the poverty people who are poor, which makes the top organization hierarchy, the top of the hierarchy, the most richest person in this world. Religious organization has been and being contributed to evil in our society. It's anti-human. We stand for humanity. We regret the naive hope of human beings for free thought is inhibited by the organizational structure. We support freedom, autonomy, and peace, which we ensure at least in relation to religion we propose.